Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Paris Masters 2023 indoor tournament. We're going to be doing a preview and prediction video for this, going through each and every single match from the tournament. I'll be giving you guys my predicted winner for each match, and then ultimately our winner for the whole tournament. It's the last Masters 1000 tournament on the ATP side, and it's a really exciting one because indoors, they're fast indoor hard courts, and I just think we're going to see a lot of exciting tennis. There's some blockbuster first round matches, which we're going to get to in a second. The reigning champion is Holger Rune, of course, who beat Novak Djokovic last year in a thrilling 3-set match final. And Djokovic will be looking to go one better this year, win the title, and he's won his so many times. He is arguably the best indoor player of all time. I'll probably say he is. And Alcaraz is back. So that rivalry potentially going to be reignited. We'll have a look and see whether I make those picks that mean that they will meet in the final. Before we get into it, remember to that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Thank you to all you guys. Also, big thank you for all our members. Honestly, you guys are absolute legends. So if you do really enjoy the channel, if you have a little bit of, spare change, then, supporting us through YouTube memberships is really helpful, and it does go a long way. So we really do appreciate all of you as well. Okay, let's get straight into this then, because there's a lot to talk about. Djokovic is the number one seed and he has a bye. So this Masters 1000 tournament does have buys for certain seeds. Kekmanovic has Echeverry in the first round. That's a good first round matchup. Echeverry's been in some pretty good form recently, so I'm going to go with Echeverry. Greek Sport plays Eubanks, two players who have had their ups and downs this year. I would say, though, for Greek Sport, it's been, in my opinion, probably his best season of his career. For Eubanks, he made a career best Grand Slam finish at Wimbledon this year, making a quarterfinal, but hasn't really done much since. So I'm going to go for Greek Sport. I think he's going to enjoy the indoor conditions as well. Eubanks should have some success with big serving and big hitting, but he just hasn't quite had that same fire in his belly that he did at Wimbledon since. And I do think it's a case of him potentially resetting come 2024. David Fokina has Ben Shelton, and look, I mean, Shelton has been very good recently, winning his first tournament as well, first ATP 500 tournament, which is even more impressive, and played and beat some really good players on the way to victory there. And in the Asian swing, he had some success beating Jannik Sinner, who just beat Daniil Medvedev today in Vienna. So, look, Sinner's been one of the informed players in the last couple of months, and Shelton beating him is a big plus. Fokina is very solid. We know he can cause trouble for anyone. He's got a solid all-round game. I do think, though, the indoor courts are going to really suit Ben. So I'm going to go for Ben Shelton to win that one. Then Taylor Fritz versus Sebastian Baez. Now, if this was on clay, I would actually go for Baez. I really do like his game on clay. He isn't just a one-trick pony. He does have a pretty solid game, but I think his serve and his all-round game is going to be a little bit underpowered on this surface. I'm going to go for Fritz to get the win, although he has been in pretty adverse form recently, so keep an eye out for that one. This could be a potential upset. Fields, who's had a pretty good couple of months himself as well, lost to Daniil Medvedev in the first round of Vienna. No shame in that. Medvedev making the final, losing today to Sinner. He plays Altmaier in the first one. I'll go for the Frenchman based on form. And then we have an absolute blockbuster. Two of the best one-handed backhands in the game. Dominic Thiem and Stan Wawrinka. I mean, both these guys, in my opinion, if we had Stanimal and Dominic Thiem in his prime going at each other, I don't think we actually saw them maybe cross over many times anyway in their primes, then it just would have been such an incredible matchup, so explosive. This will be explosive anyways. We're going to see some big hitting. We're going to see lots of winners, lots of backhand winners down the line, I'm sure, as well. Dominic Thiem actually has a slight advantage, I think, given that he's come through qualifying. I think that is a real advantage. I think he's the type of player who has struggled for form, and given that he's come through a few matches, I think he'll have some confidence on the surface as well. Stan has a pretty good all-round game, to be honest, and even though there's certain surfaces which I think he is slightly better on, when he's playing at his best, he can compete with anyone on any surface. I'm actually going to go for Dominic Thiem, and I did go for him to beat Tsitsipas last week, and it backfired, and he didn't beat him. I was hoping that it was going to be his marquee victory and the long-awaited marquee victory since his comeback. I'm going to go for Dominic Thiem, though. Wawrinka, we've seen him play some really good tennis in spots this year as well, so it's definitely a flip of a coin. But I just think the practice of those matches coming into this might put him in good stead. Holger Rune has a bye, and he's picked up some good form. He's a defending champion and made the semi-finals of Paris as well. Lost to Felix Auger-Aliassime, who was the eventual champion. So good to see him pick up some form. He's got Boris Becker in his corner as well. And yeah, I mean, it looks like it's a good, positive start to that partnership. And interesting as well, and no real reason for me to point this out, but he's not wearing his backwards cap look anymore, which is interesting. I don't know whether it's some kind of superstition or maybe Boris Becker told him not to, or they've had a chat about it, or maybe it just doesn't feel like it. But either way, something interesting to point out. I don't know whether it has any significance, probably doesn't, but he has a bye, as is Jannik Sinner, who, as I said, beat Daniil Medvedev to win Vienna today. So he's in great form. How's he going to feel physically is going to be the biggest question going into this tournament. But the positive thing for him is that he has a bye, so he'll have a few days rest. JJ Wolf is a qualifier against McDonald. I'll go for the qualifier and Wolf. Then you've got Bonzi, the wild card, versus Lajovic, who's a lucky loser. I like Lajovic. I do like his game. And as a lucky loser, I think he's got nothing to lose. I'm going to go for him over Bonzi on this surface. And then we've got Andy Murray versus Alex de Minaur. Now, this is an absolute nightmare for Andy Murray on paper. Alex de Minaur has a really, really, really dominant head-to-head 5-love. Insane. Absolutely insane. And the most recent edition was in China not so long ago. And de Minaur won 6-3, 5-7, 8-6 in a final set tiebreaker. Crazy. Murray, by the way, was serving for the match at one point. So, look, this is clearly a psychological thing now more than anything as well. Do I think Andy Murray can get over the line? I think it's going to be hard indoors because even though Murray likes faster courts as well, like de Minaur, I do think indoors de Minaur is a bit of a wild card. I think he's actually pretty dangerous indoors. I would love to say Murray comes through, but I think de Minaur is going to get another notch on his belt, and I just think it's going to be one of those matchups that Murray's going to hate. And it's a shame because he keeps on getting drawn to him in a lot of the tournaments that we've had this year. When they've played those same tournaments, they've tended to get drawn together and gravitated towards each other. So it's been a weird one, but de Minaur, yeah, for me, will come out on top. And Tommy Paul, who I think, likes the indoor conditions. He's got a very versatile game. I think he'll come through against Richard Gasquet. Mannarino is, an unsung hero indoors. I think he's really solid. I'm going to go for him to beat the qualifier Van der Zand Schulp. And I'm going to go for Nishioka to beat Thompson, the lucky loser. Rublev and Casper both have buys. Casper has picked up a little bit of form. I don't want to overstate it, but he's looked pretty good in comparison to what we've seen the last few months. But I don't have particularly high hopes for him in this tournament. Rublev has picked up some. I mean, he's been very consistent, in all honesty, all year. So I think the biggest, disappointment for him is the fact that he hasn't made a Grand Slam semi-final as a minimum this year. But in the other tournaments, he's been pretty solid, and I think it's been quite a good year if you exclude the Grand Slams, which is easier said than done. So yeah, I'm going to go and say that Rublev's, depending on his draw, should be a contender. Should be a contender. Monfils plays Cerundolo. That's a really good matchup for a first round. I'm going to go for Monfils to get through that one. Then Lehechka and RBA. Now, this is an interesting one because RBA is very intriguing player, very loopy forehand, flat backhand. Lehechka has been up and down this year. Hasn't found a real, long period of consistency. I'm actually going to go for RBA to come through this. I think it's going to be too solid for Lehechka. Not particularly sold on Lehechka at the moment. Now, Hubert Hurkacz just lost to Felix Auger-Aliassime in the final of Paris. Plays Sebastian Korda. Now, Hurkacz has been in really good form. Won the Shanghai Masters, beating Rublev in an epic. Then, as I said, just lost today as well on ATP 500, but made the final. Korda has made some good runs, no doubt, making the Shanghai Masters semi-final, if I'm not mistaken. Look, this is an intriguing one because Korda does have the game to, in my opinion, hurt Hurkacz, but the real question is going to be, is he going to be, in my opinion anyway, solid enough? Because they played in the semi-finals of Shanghai, and he lost 6-3, 6-4. Hurkacz played some really good tennis, but the courts are just as quick, if not quicker, than Shanghai. It's indoors as well, which means that Hurkacz's serve is going to be even better. At least you would expect it to be even better. Korda beat him in Australia, which was a fast hard court, though, in honesty, and in 5 sets, but 9-7 the deciding tiebreak. I mean, that's very, very tight. This probably has 3 sets written all over it. The question is, can Korda find the level required to challenge Hurkacz? Because Hurkacz is going to play a very good level, I think. I'm going to go for Hurkacz to come through this. Korda definitely has the ability to snatch victory away from the pole, but again, I don't think I trust him enough right now, Korda. Whereas I feel safe picking Hurkacz, if that makes sense. I feel an air of safety picking Hurkacz. TFO and Bublik, I mean, that's a great matchup as well. Bublik had and has had some pretty good results recently, winning a title. And I think I'm intrigued to see how he gets on against someone like TFO. The head-to-head is 2-1 in favor of TFO, by the way. They haven't played this year, though. They haven't played this year, so I don't know. How does it come out? Because Alexander Bublik, I think, has he had his best year this year? Maybe. The Swiss indoors, he lost in the first round to Casper Ruud, fine. Then European Open, he won, beating. I mean, he didn't beat, I guess, incredible players. Beat Barrera, Pericard, Martira, and Fields, fine. Sun Open, first round lost to Offner. Chengdu Open, first round to Giron. It just fluctuates a lot. I mean, US Open lost the team in the first round. Canada lost first round to Hurkacz. Monfils lost in the City Open. Round of 16 in Wimbledon, lost to Rublev. Should have won that one, by the way. Had a good grass court swing. These fast indoor hard courts, though, they should have some success. TFOs are quite good, though. He has indoors. I'm going to go for TFO. Bublik, again, has the ability to blow TFO off the court with incredible serving and just guile, skill, power. It's just whether he can piece it all together. Nicholas Jarry to beat Popperin for me. And Dimitrov Musetti, this is a replay of a first round match recently. I'm going to go for Dimitrov to come out on top again. I just think indoors, Dimitrov is a different animal to Musetti. I just don't think Musetti can hang with him on a fast hard court. So, yeah. Medvedev has a bye as a Tsitsipas. Felix Auger-Aliassime plays Struff. That's a really tough first round. Okay, I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for. I've got to go for Felix, right? Felix has just won a tournament. Struff, though, could, again, Look, the big servers are so dangerous on these fast indoor hard courts. I mean, it's tough to just completely dismiss them. Ugo and Bert beat Giron. He's been in some really good form. I've been impressed with him recently. Played well against Hurkacz as well. I know he lost that match, that semi-final in Paris. What am I saying? Paris? It's in Basel even. So excuse me saying Paris in Basel. Any point in this video that I said Paris, I mean Basel, apart from the Paris Masters indoor tournament. Right, Fucsovic and Zverev. Zverev should beat Fucsovic. He should. I know Fucsovic is qualified, so again, he's going to be very comfortable with the courts, but I just don't think so. Karen Khachanov and Purcell. I'm going to go for Khachanov. Van Asch to beat Ger, and Muller. And I'll go Safiullin to beat Muller, actually. And Alcaraz is a buy. Cool, okay. Let's get through this. Djokovic beat Echeverry. I think it could be a tough match, but on this surface, these conditions, Djokovic is a big favourite. Shelton to beat Grykspor. I'm actually going to go for an upset here and go for Fields to beat Fritz. I just think Fritz is right for the taking at the moment. I really do. I think he's right for the taking. Rune team. Now, to be honest, if Wawrinka wins, then Wawrinka Rune is going to be a spicy one, as it always is. Rune has picked up some decent form, so I'm going to go for Rune. And again, he's got some good memories of this tournament. He's the reigning champion. I think he'll do okay. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to win the tournament, but I think he'll do okay. Sinner should beat Wolf. Dimona should beat Lajovic. And Paul Manarino, it's a tough one for Paul, honestly. He could lose this. He's been upset recently as well. I'm going to go for Manarino. I think he's going to make it awkward. Rublev to beat Nishioka. I'm going to go for Casper or Monfils. Again, depends on what Monfils and what Ruud turns up. It really does. I'm going to go for Gal Monfils. I'm going pretty big here. Monfils beat Ruud. Hurkacz beat RBA. Jarry to beat TFO. I think he'll serve him off the court, to be honest. I think he might be too powerful. Medvedev will beat Dimitrov. I know Dimitrov took a set off Medvedev this week, but I don't see it. I mean, Dimitrov has had a very, very good year, by the way, in comparison to his prior few seasons, but I just think Medvedev is a different level on indoor hard courts. And Tsitsipas, Felix Auger Aliassime. Now, this is... Look, I would have said Tsitsipas as a favourite, even though he has been in great form recently, but given Felix's form recently, given that he just won a tournament, he's going to take a lot of confidence coming into this tournament. A lot, in all honesty. I think I'm going to go for Felix calls the upset to beat Tsitsipas. I'm just thinking indoors, right? It's going to come down to whose serve and forehand combo is the best. Let's be honest. Who's going to serve better, and then who's going to utilize their forehand the best? Because both players have a weakness in their backhand, even though they're different in the sense that one is a one-hander, one is a two-hander, but they're both their weaker side, and there's definitely some deficiencies there. They're both good movers. They both serve well. They both transition well to the net. They've got pretty good hands. Their forehands are very potent when they're playing well, and they're at their best when they're attacking. There's some real similarities between the two, but Felix has just come off a tournament win despite having a really horrific season. I just wonder whether there's, you could say it's recency bias, and it is, but I do think he's going to ride the wave a little bit, so I'm going to go for him to beat Tsitsipas. Then Ugo Humbert and Zverev. This is a real potential banana skin for Zverev. Humbert's been playing some really, really good tennis. I'm actually going to go for him to beat Zverev to upset him. Again, you might say Fazan, you're just looking at recent results. Recent results are important because they've been on indoor hard courts similar to this. And at the end of the day, a lot of these players who are having good results, they haven't gone super deep in a lot of tournaments this year. So they're a lot fresher than some of these other players. Zverev's played a lot of tennis this year, a lot of tennis. Khachanov to beat Van Ash, and I'm going Alcaraz to beat Safin, and that's not an easy matchup, by the way, for Al. Okay, so let's go to the round of 16. Wow, so we're going to have another potential foam put down by Djokovic against Shelton. Look, Shelton, by the way, since that US Open loss, I think he's looked much improved. I'm not saying that he's gone up 2 levels and he's going to be at Djokovic's level necessarily, but what I'm saying is it's going to be a tougher challenge, I think, for Djokovic. It should be anyway, on paper. In a best of three as well, anything could happen. You know, if he takes him to a tiebreaker, Djokovic is great in tiebreakers, but Shelton is also pretty good as well. And he needs to serve very well, that's for sure. He needs to back up the serve well. He could do it. I just think this surface and these conditions, even though I do think it boosts Shelton's game somewhat, I just think they're too. They're just. It's just a match made in heaven, the Paris Masters and Novak Djokovic, and it's so unlikely that he's not going to go super deep this tournament. So I'm going to go Djokovic. Then Fields and Holger Rune. Again, this for me is a 50-50. I'm going to go for Holger Rune to come out on top. So Holger Rune to win this one. And then we've got Jannik Sinner and Alex de Minaur. Sinner. Rublev Manarino. Manarino will definitely frustrate Rublev, but I think Rublev should have enough. He's been in some good form recently. Hurkacz again should beat Monfils. Look, I mean, I'm going to have to think about how deep some of these finalists or champions are going to go because will they be feeling the pace a little bit potentially? Jarry Medvedev. Now, Medvedev should beat Jarry. Everyone knows on the channel, I think, how much I really like Jarry and I like Jarry's game. I really do. I'm a massive fan of it. The question is, though, against Medvedev, it's a difficult one because he's such a wall. Does Jarry have the game to nullify the defensive prowess that Medvedev has on court? I'm not sure. He doesn't serve and volley a huge amount, and that's obviously a real positive when you play against Medvedev if you can serve and volley well. Backhand to backhand, Medvedev's going to have more success. Forehand to forehand, Jarry should be able to dictate in a lot of instances. I think it's tough to back against Medvedev, isn't it? Let's go for Medvedev. And then we've got a really good matchup here. Felix Auger Aliassime and Auger. But I'm going to go for Felix. Alcaraz to beat Khachanov. Right, quarterfinals. So my quarterfinals are Djokovic Rune. So that's a replay that will be of the Paris Masters final of last year. I think this time Djokovic will get the better of Rune. Sinner Rublev, we saw that this week, and Sinner won in straight sets. Rublev actually, by the way, was 5-2 up in that first set in Vienna. He should have won that first set, and then who knows what happens from there. So the question is, can Rublev get revenge? Sinner's just won the title, though, so he's got confidence. I'm going to go for, I'm going to go for Rublev to get revenge. Then Hurkacz and Medvedev, very interesting one. Hurkacz can cause Medvedev problems, and especially given that he transitions to the net a lot, he comes forward a lot. The two finalists who lost this week in the quarterfinals, I'm going to go for Hurkacz to beat Medvedev. I just think, and I need to look at their head-to-head actually, because on paper, you look at styles, Medvedev's style, Hurkacz's style should be a bit of a nightmare for Medvedev. Yeah, I mean, he's got a 3-2 winning head-to-head. It's not much. They haven't played this year. They played once on indoor hard at the ATP Finals in 2021. Medvedev won 6-7, 6-3, 6-4. Fine. Outdoor hard, Medvedev won as well, and then that was in 2021 on grass even in 2021. Wimbledon, Hurkacz won 2022. Hurkacz won both matches, one on outdoor hard in Miami, one on grass in Halle. So he's got a 2-match winning streak. I'll go for Hurkacz. And then Felix Auger-Aliassime actually has a positive, if I'm not mistaken, head-to-head against Alcaraz. Look, I mean, It'll probably be a very, very entertaining match because, in all honesty, the head-to-head is 3-1. Alcaraz won this year, the only match they played at Indian Wells, 6-4, 6-4. So it's pretty tight still. So it just seems that Felix's style is a little bit troublesome for Alcaraz. But I do think now the thing is actually, I'm going to think about this. Indoors, I think the gap between the two closes. I'm not saying it closes enough that Alcaraz loses, but I do think it closes enough that it's going to be very, very competitive. And that's on top of the fact that the style or the styles seem to cause, or Felix's style seems to cause Alcaraz some issues. And he has, as I said, 3-1 losing head to head. Now, he hasn't lost him this year. They've only played once, but it was still a tight two-setter. Alcaraz, there's big question marks on how good he's going to be indoors. He didn't play much last year indoors at all, and he was injured for a lot of it. So, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns really, and it's tough to know how he plays. We know Felix is a good indoor player because he's won a lot of tournaments indoors. The question is he good enough to beat Alcaraz? And I'm going to go with no. So I've got semi-finals of Djokovic, Rublev, Hurkacz, Alcaraz. Now, this is a shame for Rublev because he is really Djokovic's bunny. And yeah, indoor hard courts. Rublev is going to have to serve and potentially try and hit Djokovic off the court. He could do it. It's unlikely Djokovic for the win. Hurkacz, Alcaraz. Hurkacz could actually be Alcaraz, especially indoors. This could be a real, real test, and it could spoil the party because a lot of people will be hoping for a Djokovic Alcaraz final. Even myself, I mean, I'd love to see it, to be honest. Why not? But Hurkacz has come close to beating Alcaraz this year, and I do think indoors on a hard court, and this is, again, this is me placing a lot of, trust in the fact that he's even going to make it this far, and he could even lose his first round match given who he's playing in quarter. I'm going to go for Hurkacz to be Alcaraz, spoil the party. I just think his serving, his transition game, his volleying, his how well he played in Shanghai, even this week. I know he lost to Felix in the final, but I just have a feeling that Hurkacz will finally be able to beat Alcaraz this year. And I think it will be one of those things where he'll just get a bit of a boost by the conditions. Djokovic Hurkacz in the final. Now, Hurkacz gave Djokovic a pretty good match at Wimbledon, lost in 4 sets, lost a tiebreaker as well, one of those sets they definitely should have won. I could see it going to 3 sets. It's very hard to pick against Djokovic. Hurkacz, could he win another? Could he win a consecutive Masters 1000 tournament is really the question. I mean, I don't see why he can't. I could see him causing Djokovic problems, in all honesty. But Djokovic has won his so many times. But is he going to? But the question is he going to win Paris and the ATP Finals? Because normally what he does is he normally peaks for the major event. Now, this is a big event. It's a Masters 1000 tournament, but the ATP Finals has more significance, more weight in terms of points, in terms of matches. This is his first tournament for a while. He's wondering a lot, though. I'm going to go left field because I like doing it. You guys know that. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go for, no Djokovic, no Alcaraz final. I'm going to go for Djokovic, Hurkacz final, and Hurkacz to beat Alcaraz and Djokovic back to back. Now, that's as big as it's going to get. If that happens, then I'll be a happy man just because I got the picks right. But on the top of my head, it's probably unlikely. But you know what? That's what I picked. I'm going to stick with it. Why not? Let's go for it. See how we get on. Guys, let me know your predicted winner in the comment section below. And also let me know what you think of my picks as well. Probably crazy, but I don't mind. Always happy to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well. We'll see you in the next video.